Happy International Women's Day. I'm Keri-Lynne Shaw. I am a salary negotiation coach and expert in closing the gender pay gap. And I'm here to celebrate you today. And I've got 5 tips that I think are going to be a game changer for all of us in focusing on knowing our worth and closing the gender pay gap. So it starts with some statistics, which I think you probably will be alarmed by. 80% of women don't feel they're enough. 75% of female executives don't deal with imposter syndrome, don't feel they're enough. And 91% of women and girls don't feel comfortable in their bodies. So of my 5 tips, point number 1 is knowing your worth. This is the tough one. This is the inner work. This is the finding the communities, finding the podcasts, finding strength, looking for who's sitting at your table and being really intentional about that. Couple of tips for you. I follow Powerhouse Women, Lindsay Schwartz. She talks a lot about knowing your worth and how to find your worth and gives you all sorts of beautiful tools. Shelly Zalis is doing her part with the female quotient. Amazing work in closing the gender pay gap and empowering women. And there's a beautiful book that just launched by Jamie Kern-Lima from It Cosmetics called Worth. She is donating 100% of her proceeds of the book to Worth and helping women find their voice and knowing that they're good enough. So that would be point number 1. Point number 2, let's talk about the gender pay gap. We are still paid 14% less than men. It's a reality. And the most important thing that we could do, if every single one of us, the next time we got a job offer, just asked, we would make a massive impact on the pay gap. Because only 30% of us are asking. So if we can even double that number, we will close the gap on that 14%. The beautiful part that many of you may not know about is that the person on the other end who is making you the offer is expecting you to ask. And when you don't, they're surprised. So point number 3, stop staying small. I stayed small for a lot of my career until I stopped. I do find myself time to time going back, but the best thing that I have discovered, and actually Lindsay Schwartz talks about something similar on her podcast, is listing the evidence in your life when you stepped into being uncomfortable and it worked. So when you were holding yourself back or you were afraid of something, but you did it anyway, go back and list all of those things out and then start to collect evidence over your future life of when it happens again. And every time doubts creeps in, go back to that list. You will find so much evidence on how you can do it and how you can keep yourself from being small. Point number 4, let's start normalizing the conversation around money. Let's start talking to our friends and our colleagues about what they make, about how did they negotiate, about how it works in their organization. Do you have bonus structures? How often is it reviewed? Start normalizing this conversation, because for many of us and for many years, we were told we're not allowed to have that conversation, or we shouldn't have that conversation, or that conversation is bad. Well, it's not. I'm here to tell you, the more we start normalizing it, the bigger opportunity we have to close the gap. And number 5, on this very special day, because the theme is invest in women and accelerate progress, why not go to your organization and tell them that this is a really special day and a really big opportunity for all of us. And I want to be part of the solution. So I'd love to know, as an organization, what we're doing to close the gender pay gap and talk about equity. And I'd love to see the actions that we've taken and be part of building actions that we can take going forward. The more we can talk about it and demand it in our organizations, and it doesn't have to be a fight. I'm a lover, not a fighter. But these are the actions that I think will have a really big impact. So on this very special day, I celebrate you. I celebrate women around the world, and I've got your back. Find all these beautiful women who are here to support you. There are so many of us out there. Call me anytime. Thank you so much.